Hey everyone, so my name is Juliana. I just wanted to make this video because the Lord has really been laying things on my heart that He has been telling me that He really wants me to share. He wants me to share my story because it could help someone else. And yeah, so without further ado, here's my video. So I'm making this video for two reasons. Number one, I want to offer support to women who find themselves in a similar situation that I have. And number two, I just want to encourage people to be more open and honest about their struggles. There is so much healing that is found when you are intentionally vulnerable. And as a Christian, I believe that the devil likes to place doubt and worry in our head. And he wants us to believe that lie that we should keep all of our struggles to ourselves. And we need to realize that that's what it is. That's a lie. And why would the devil want us to do this? Because if we keep the things that we are going through to ourselves, then we are going to isolate ourselves. We're going to believe the lie that we are alone. And when we feel isolated and alone, we will not have a community of people surrounding us who want to offer their support, their encouragement, and their godly wisdom. So that's why I'm making this video. I have spent 2.5 years believing the lie that I was alone. I spent 2.5 years believing that I need to keep my struggles to myself and that what I was going through was not appropriate to talk about. I believed the lie that I would be judged, pitied, and embarrassed. I believed the lie that nobody would understand. I believed the lie that if I was honest about my struggles and if people found out what I was going through, that I would be a disappointment to my parents and Daniel's parents. But I know that my struggle is not unique. And while I've only told my story to less than a handful of people, the few people that I have shared my story with have only confirmed that this is something that more women go through than I even realized. So I'm here to speak out, share my story, and offer encouragement. The problem is that we are often too scared to share our story with anyone. And we just don't know who it's safe to talk to, who will understand and won't cast judgment, who will listen to us before or without giving unwarranted advice, who will support us without telling us that it is our fault. Trust me, I have heard it all. I have heard people give unwarranted advice to other women going through the same thing. I have heard people suggest that the reason a woman is going through this is because of an unforgivable sin in her past. False and hurtful accusations like that only prevent people from reaching out, and it only perpetuates the lie that we are alone and that we can't talk to anyone and that we need to isolate ourselves. So that is why I am sharing my story, even though I am slightly terrified. I want to offer support and encouragement. It is something that I have absolutely craved for 2.5 years now. And over the past couple of months, the Lord has really been pressing it on my heart that I need to make a video, that I need to be open and honest with my struggles, that I need to share my story. And to be honest, it scares me. In fact, I kept trying to push away what I knew the Lord was laying on my heart. And then this past week, I couldn't deny it anymore. God reminded me of the story of Jonah. He reminded me that He has a perfect plan. His plans are always for good, and that when He wants to use someone, He will. So I figured it'd be better to obey Him immediately so that I can pass on having to spend a couple nights in the belly of a big fish. That was a joke. But in all seriousness, when God has a plan, He is going to make it happen. It just makes it way easier if I surrender my will to Him and stop resisting it, because He does have a perfect plan and there is a reason He wants me to share my story, even though I may not see or understand that reason just yet. So I shared what the Lord has been placing on my heart with my husband first, and then I shared it with my parents. The good and the bad thing about sharing what the Lord has asked you to do with the 3 people closest to you is that they will hold you to it. So here I am. Like I mentioned before, I know my story is not unique. I have heard a statistic that 1 in 8 couples struggle with this. That's a lot of couples, y'all. So why do we feel so alone? So for as long as I can remember, I have wanted to be a mommy. At 3 or 4 years old, I would pray that my baby dolls would turn into real babies that I could take care of. When I was 10, I remember praying my heart out that I would just become a woman already. I literally prayed that my period would come ASAP so that I could just have confirmation that everything was working properly and that I would be able to be a mommy one day. I know, I was so naive. Like, who in their right mind prays for a period? But I just desperately wanted that confirmation. When my period did come, though, my hormones went haywire, like total mayhem. I spent more time at the gynecologist than anyone I know, and unfortunately, nothing seemed to be helping. But I kind of brushed it all aside for a while, and I didn't really understand the severity of such an extreme hormonal imbalance. So back to how I'm just absolutely in awe of kids. I think anyone who knows me knows that I absolutely have a heart for children. I have watched kids my whole life. I even started a babysitting club with my cousin when we were 7 or 8. Don't worry, no one actually left us alone with their children. We just took extra care of our little cousins and pretended that we were babysitting them when we were at family events. It was also no secret that Daniel felt the same way. We love kids. In fact, people were literally like betting as to how quickly we would get pregnant after our honeymoon. And the truth is, we weren't offended, because if we had been asked to play along, we would have confidently stated that baby Wilt would be born in the first year of our marriage. Naive, maybe a little, but we knew we wanted a family. And at the time, we had been together for 7 years already. So although we were young, we were just eager to start our own family. So that was our plan. We wanted to start trying for our own family once we had officially tied the knot. Well, that was 2.5 years ago. And while we have 3 beautiful fur babies, we have yet to have our own human baby. And in case you weren't aware, you're technically considered infertile after a year of actively trying. So to be clear, I don't want to share this for sympathy, advice, or a diagnosis. I share this to offer support for people like me who have felt so alone. I share this so that if someone out there is wondering who they can talk to, who understands, and who can offer support and encouragement, I want them to know that I am here and God is here. So for the women struggling with hormonal imbalance and infertility, I know the sheer heartbreak that you experience every single month. I understand the way your heart shatters when you see yet another pregnancy announcement, or the feeling of being punched in the gut when someone mentions how easy it is to get pregnant or how they weren't even trying. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person, a selfish person, and it sure as heck doesn't mean that you won't ultimately be happy for them and the little blessing that they have received. You're human, though. When you have been waiting for a miracle for so long, I think it's only natural to have those feelings sometimes. I understand how sometimes it's all you can do to keep from crying when you're bombarded at family events with invasive questions asking, when are you going to start trying to have your own family? I understand that you don't blame them for asking, and that you know deep down that they are just as eager as you are to start a family. But I also understand that it still hurts. I understand feeling like you need to keep it cool to stop the questions. I understand what it's like to feel like you need to act like you could get pregnant if you wanted to, but you and your spouse just don't want kids yet. I know what it's like to make up excuses as to why you don't have kids yet. You say things like they're expensive, or we just want to have a couple of years just by ourselves first. I get it. I understand what it's like when your body is so cruel and lets you experience every pregnancy symptom in the book to convince your body that you're pregnant, to delay your period for a week, get your hopes up so high only to receive your period on Christmas morning. I know what it's like to have already bought gifts for your husband that you just can't wait to give him on the day that you finally get to tell him that he's going to be a dad, because he really is going to be the best dad. I know what it's like to have already bought gifts for your parents, because you have convinced yourself so many times that any month now you are going to be able to give them the news that they are going to be grandparents. And I also know how helpful it is when you do have support, when you have a community around you who can encourage you and point you back to the truth. I know how good it feels when you have found a person that you can confide in and vent to and know that they won't pass judgment. So with all of that being said, I want to start a support group. It's something that I've longed for throughout my entire journey with infertility. I dream of a place where women who understand what it's like can uplift and encourage each other. I dream of a place where we can share our testimonies, our personal journeys, where we can share what has encouraged us and the things we are doing to support our body and our emotions in the process. I also want a place where women feel comfortable venting, where they know that they will first be heard and validated, and where they know that if any advice is being given, that it's coming from someone who has or is experiencing the same thing that they are and that they care. So if this is something you would be interested in, let me know. I'm working on a secret Facebook group where we can all support each other. It would be totally secret. The only way someone can join or even find the group is if I personally invite them or if you personally invite them. If you're not comfortable sharing your journey with your friends and family yet, that's okay. No one other than the women in the group would even need to know that you're in it. I just want to offer that to any of my friends who might be interested. Again, a group like this is something that I have longed for. And then a couple of months ago, the Lord placed it on my heart that He wants me to start it. Wow. So thanks for listening. Again, I'm not looking for any sympathy by sharing this. I just want to offer support. I want to encourage and remind anyone who is battling with this that everything happens in God's perfect timing, that there is hope. God is our hope. And if we seek Him for wisdom and how we can best support our bodies, how to encourage our spirits, and how to comfort other women who are going through the same thing, then He will give us the answers that we need. So thanks for watching. And again, if you want to be added to the support group, just send me a private message on Facebook. I love you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day.